Hello there, my name is Dr. Salim Javed and we have been talking about George Méliès. And I told you that how George Méliès made his film called Haunted Castle in 1896. Around 1900 he made Joan of Arc, the one-man band and the Christmas drama, and how he is credited to be one of the first to introduce artificial lighting, not only editing but artificial lighting into filmmaking process. Now, as I said, the film Joan of Arc. Now, this is what you can see on your screen, that these are the stills from the film called Joan of Arc, which was made in 1900. And you must be wondering that, sir, 1900 is a black and white era, and how come your pictures are in color? Two of them, or rather all of them are in color. Now, to understand this, please, it is not that in the silent era films were silent. It is not that in the black and white era films were only black and white. There are times, especially Thomas Alva Edison was experimenting with sound, with film and sound together. So there are some examples, and these are hand painted films still, and when you run them they look colorful. So this process was on from the very beginning, and Edison is considered pioneer in this field. Now when I show these images to my students, I always ask them that he did it in 1900, and many of us are not even able to do it in 2024. It's the difference is not of time, it's of passion. you know it's of passion. It's of it's that madness that makes any job in the world the way it is. It's the job is never a job if you do it, as long as you do it as a job, unless you, the portion of, not the portion, the portion of madness, passion is not dropped into, it does not work. Now, this is the film that I was talking about, the one man band. Now, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, they all are George Méliès. So there is no other actor than George Méliès. So think of that time. You are doing this. That's why it's called magic. These are the things which actually gave, or which actually helped associate two different genre, magic and film, together. And today, in one breath, we say that cinema is magic, or cinema creates magic. This kind of this kind of a saying is, the reason is George Méliès. Then you have two stills from the film called Christmas Dream. Again, we are between, right now, today we are between Christmas and New Year, so the Christmas Dream is also there. Now is what makes George Méliès the way you and I know him today. Now, I am talking about the autumn of 1896. April, he made films, he started showing, technically became the first film director, producer, and in the world. Now, it was the autumn, and obviously autumn is after April in Paris. So, in autumn of 1896, as George Méliès was capturing a Persian street scene. Very interesting story. Listen to it very carefully, though I have talked about it, but not in such a detail. So, George Méliès was in Paris. The season was autumn, and he was shooting, capturing a Persian street scene. His camera malfunctioned, and by the time, now think 2-3 things are going on simultaneously. He is shooting, his camera got jammed, and the omnibus, or in some books it says bus, but the right terminology is omnibus. was exiting the tunnel. So as soon as it was exiting the tunnel and the camera was here, it was jammed. Fine, obviously, because he had to do it. So he, upon restoring the machine, he did whatever he could because he was a mechanic also. So after restoring the machine, he discovered, he doesn't know anything. Shoot हो रहा है, camera jam हुआ, he did something and he starts shooting again. But by the time that omnibus was gone, and when you are shooting, you can understand that feeling that you stop seeing the world around you. It happens when you will be on your first project, and those who have done it, they know the feeling that you can't, even if you want, you are not able to see beyond the frame. So he discovered, so he kept on shooting. He was only occupied with the fact that his camera is jammed, and he fixed it, and then he started shooting. Now what happens, then the scene is reshot again, and when the filming was done, he goes back, develop his film, and when he plays it, and sees it, that what I have captured. So the omnibus that I was talking about was in the scene when the camera got jammed, was changed. Suppose if I'm shooting up till here, so omnibus is here, camera got jammed, now some time has passed around this time. So when the camera starts working, it starts working from this point on. So the omnibus turns into a hearse, a funeral hearse. Now what is a funeral hearse? Funeral, you understand, you and I understand, hearse is basically buggy. So the omnibus was turned into hearse. So up till here it's omnibus, and jammed, you start reshooting, and so frame wise it is going frame wise, 24 frame, 25 frame, 48 frames. So imagine that up till 11 frame it is omnibus, and it got jammed on the 11th frame, and then when it starts working, obviously it starts working from 11th frame, and then it is capturing forward. So when it is played, when the footage is developed and played, so it is showing omnibus, 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 omnibus up to the 11th frame, and as it advances, that omnibus in the 12th frame, from 11th, it is 11th is a hypothetical number that I am talking about. So 11th is the funeral bus, omnibus, and by 12th frame it is funeral hearse. Now even the magician was flabbergasted. Even the magician was surprised how it has happened. There is where the editing was discovered. George Melies was astounded. This incident led George Melies to acknowledge the potential of manipulating real time and real place through film editing. Now this discovery itself is like as if you have discovered new atom, as if you have discovered new species, as if you have discovered a new universe, as if you have discovered a new reality. This incident has given human being the power of manipulating real time and real place. How powerful these words are, that now you as a filmmaker are capable of manipulating real time and real place. Now that is what the difference is between research and so-called magic. Research gives you the same result if it is done through a proper process. Research gives you same result provided that you have all the you have uh, controlled condition. Research gives you same result again and again, as many times you do the experiment. That is what science is. Now maybe I can levitate in air, but I do it with the help of magic, and I don't teach this magic to anyone else. Then I am levitating in air. Nobody else will do it after me. You know, so that is the difference when it comes to science and other art form. Other forms, other pre-existing form. So if I put the conditions right, and if I follow the process, I'll get the same result. Somebody has got the same result in Paris. If this experiment is done in US, he or she will also get the same result, and if this experiment is done in India, it will get the same result. So that's how science validates itself. Given the time and place, you can repeat. The repeatability element of repeatability is there. As it is, repeatability is there. Now this experiment, when omnibus turned into a funeral hearse because camera got jammed, and he was a magician, he had a camera, he was there, he was shooting, and he was able to note the change, and he was able to realize the potential of how it is done. And that's why if you look at these photographs that I was talking about, the one man band, now he is doing that trick. He is doing that trick. He is actually, what he is doing, he is manipulating real time and real place through film editing. So that is what he is doing in he is doing that in any of his film. He is actually manipulating. Now think of something, that how powerful it is to manipulate real time and real place, and that too through film editing. Now he realized that film need not adhere to the principle of empirical reality. Now I want anybody who is watching this video to understand this line, and I genuinely want you to understand this line. And I'm talking, I'm delivering this line in terms of in reference to George Melies, but it is true on Pushpa also. Pushpa 2, which is now recently released, it's extremely popular film. But think of Pushpa 2 and think of these two lines that I am reading. He realized that film need not adhere to the principle of empirical reality. I will not be explaining this particular line, to be very honest, but I really want, I genuinely want you to understand why I am saying that even Pushpa 2 is using it. Even any avatar, Hindi में कहते हैं, Avatar 2, even using it, or any Lucas film or any Terminator film, any film in the world, any film, be that Shyam Benegal, who has recently passed away, to even the legends of cinema, they understood this line. He realized that film need not to adhere to the principle of empirical reality. Though Shyam Benegal is basically for the empirical reality, but he used the medium of cinema, so even there is a manipulation there, and his predecessors, as his predecessors has believed. So who are his predecessors? His predecessors are the Lumiere brothers that I have been talking about, who did not sell camera to him, and Thomas Alva Edison, let's keep William Kennedy Laurie Dixon out of it, and because his so in 1901 he made films like The Brahman and The Butterfly. Look at the name, how interesting it is, The Brahman and The Butterfly. A lot of us do not know even these films exist. Fairy Red Riding Hood, Blue Beard. So in the film Bluebeard, you get early glimpse of cross cutting and match cutting. Now, you know, look at how things are starting. Though a lot of critiques credit other individuals also, but he sees initial spark for these tricks also. Now, these are the two visuals from the film called The Brahman and the Butterfly, which was made in 1901, above two images, and Bluebeard is also there. I There are many films of George Méliès. What a luck! They are in a habit of preserving film. That's why we are able to. I tell you one very interesting fact. A lot of Indian film studies student, when they go and watch Raja Harishchandra, which was released in 1913, which is considered to be the first feature film of India, 1913, directed by Dada Saheb Phalke. Many critics have argued that that film which is available on internet is not the real film. It is basically it's a later film. It is not 1913 original film. 1913. I'm saying in 1913 because it was released in 1913, but the production year is 1912, and in a lot of books you have 1912 or 1913. But for the exams or for writing it for academic research paper, you always take the year of film's release, which is 1913. you know a lot of people consider that the film which is available by the name of Raja Harishchandra on internet is not the real film. Rather, it was Madan's film. Madan also made Raja Harishchandra. So a lot of people claim that the film that is available is actually Madan's Raja Harishchandra, not Dada Saheb Phalke's Raja Harishchandra. I mean, this is something we should not get into, but I just told you that because sometimes it is good to know a lot of things. And you may ask your teacher, sir, is this the film which was made by Dada Saheb Phalke, which is original in nature, or is it made by Madan? I'll be talking about J.F. Madan. I have talked about, in fact, J.F. Madan and Dada Saheb Phalke. In fact, I started my series by talking talking about Indian cinema at length, and I talked about how decade wise it was, how decade wise it started. So all those things I have talked about. Now, Méliès applied his discovery LAB in a restricted manner. Now, this is again very interesting. I mean, a lot of critics says that George Méliès has restricted himself when he is talking about editing. At least give him a benefit of doubt to George Méliès. He has discovered something. He may or may not know the full potential of what he has discovered. So when people talk to me and they say, Salim sir, George Méliès's approach is very limited. It's very tableau. It's a word, tabloid, taken from tabloid. It's very tableau in nature. I make them understand, yeah, please, he has discovered something, not somebody who made the Apple mouse is not the person who is in Apple. So somebody makes something, somebody uses it, somebody promotes it, somebody makes it popular. Steve Jobs did not make Apple camera, by the way, Apple phone, by the way. He was a good promoter. Please understand this. So Méliès applied his discovery in a very restricted manner. This is what critics say. I am not saying it. This is what critics say, and we must understand that when they are saying it, why they are saying it. Now, they are saying it because they think that George Méliès has stationed his camera like this, and whatever editing is happening, it is happening by replacing, you replace me with my friend. As long as I am sitting, I am there in the camera, you cut it, then you put the next person here, you switch it on, and when you play it together, reel, you know, so I magically change into someone else. So this is how George Méliès was working. So he and you know so there is a drama when you look at George Méliès film. There is a drama unfolding here. Camera is there, and drama is unfolding here. So I'm Salim Javed right now, and cut the shot. You put a skeleton here. So Salim Javed has turned into skeleton, and it is being captured from a fixed position. This is what a lot of critics talk about when they talk about that he used his discovery, which is editing, in a very restricted manner. Okay? So there, what they are also saying that um, you know the scene is changing, okay, but not the individual shot. When I'll be talking about a trip to the moon, so you have it that from A to H, scene number 1, I to onwards, scene number 2. So their basic complaint is that it's the change in scene, not that the shot is changing. So as long as the shot is concerned, he has got one fixed position, and by changing scenes, he is actually creating the illusion. Okay, fine, but at least he was able to discover editing in the, he was able to introduce editing in the world, so that is what their allegation is. Again, as I said, that the scenes are presented from a stationary perspective, you know like this is a stationary perspective, so I can't go out, I can't walk, and I can't come next to the lens and talk to you. So whatever I'm doing, this is what my position is fixed. So the scene are presented from a stationary perspective. So this is what George Méliès' criticism is, as if you have got the best seat in the theater and you are seeing the best scene of the play. So that's sort of a stationary perspective that critics are talking about. Another allegation is that there is no greater narrative manipulation. Okay. No greater narrative manipulation. So when I'll be talking about Edwin S. Potter in the coming videos, then you will understand it better. What do I mean by greater narrative manipulation? So it is like story wise, there is a lot of things are going on, but in terms of what should I say, in terms of pace, you know pace is like so right now you are discovering editing. When I'll talk about Edwin S. Potter, we'll talk about shots. So this is gradually the grammar that you and I use today. This is how gradually it was formed. So Méliès did all these things, and by 1896, because he was like getting into a lot of other things, he started his own company called Star Film Company, and the kind of films that he made were basically fantastical or bizarre theme sort of a thing, or sets are big, phantasmagorias, backdrops, they were constructed and painted. Now the film for which George Méliès is known, and I request all of you to watch this film, it's called Le Voyage dans la Lune. I mean, that's the French name. You can search it by the name of A Trip to the Moon, which was made in 1902. Now, if you have not seen this film, I literally ask you to see this film, A Trip to the Moon. And think of the time that when you have, when the system itself, the films are, you know, they are just starting, it's infant. Even as being infant, George Méliès is making something which is as magnificent as A Trip to the Moon, which is available on YouTube, by the way. And I seriously, you will fall in love with that film, because now it may look funny to you, but they have really used brain, 124, 122 years ago. They literally have used brain, you know. And when you see this film is like, as I said, one of the criticism of George Méliès is that there is not much narrative manipulation, you know, and the scene is changing, but not the shot, all these things. Now, when you look at this film called A Trip to the Moon, which was made in 1902, you know, you get to see, like, first scene says, now this is the order of the film. The first scene says that the Science Congress at a astronomic club. So there is an astronomic club which is obviously painted like in a space like this only. So you have, जैसे रामलीला होता है हमारे यहाँ पे, उस हिसाब से they have painted the castle, and a lot of astronomers have, lot of scientists and astronomers have come, and they start discussing. So this is basically scene number one. Camera is stationed, and this scene is unfolding. I'll be talking about this film very much very soon in the next video. I would request you to watch the film A Trip to the Moon, and we will discuss further. Thank you very much.